Mikey, microphone check, 1 2 1 2. It is your boy Huey. Welcome to the Huey Show, number 12. It is your boy. Thank you for coming back. First and foremost, please like, comment, and subscribe. Send your boy any emails, anything like that if you have any questions. But we're gonna get right up into this. So today's topics are gonna probably be a mix of NBA and NFL. I might talk about a little bit of gaming here and there, but it should be mostly that. But what I am going to start off with is, this team, everybody thought would be competitive, but they asked the same question that is asked every year: will they be healthy? And I just want to speak on the Suns, because I believe they played last night, and I think they lost. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check that real fast. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I'm pretty confident that they lost. But yeah, okay. So my question is, he pays all that money, and I mean the owner. They just got a new owner after the other guy got let go because he was talking crazy to the players. Oh, do I own you? This, that, and the third. I get it. He was let go. But now you have signed Booker. You traded for KD. You got Beal also off a trade. I mean, the bench isn't the strongest. So when are they going to be completely healthy? Because they're looking like a Nets V2, but with less of the Kyrie. I don't want to say drama, but that's kind of what it was, and less without the Kyrie drama. Because now you just have Booker, who's always out, or not Booker, sorry, Beal, who was out for the first, probably say month or two of the season. Then Beal was out again. Now that Booker's back, or Booker was back, then Beal got hurt. Then when Beal was healthy, now Booker's back out. So now my question is, and this is for all the Suns fans out there, will you guys ever be consistent? Like, I felt like you and the Nets kind of have that same issue. You guys just could never get healthy, and we never know, or we will never know, just how deep of a playoff run would they have gone on if they were all healthy. We all saw how close they got. I mean, KD almost brought them boys to the finals. Because I think everybody can agree on, the fact that the Bucks played Atlanta, should be enough of a sign. I was gonna say something else, but I can't say it. Was a sign of what was to come, and I think everybody can agree. Oh, they not swept them, but definitely at least, maybe up to like a game 6, but I don't see that going to like game 6. Yeah, game 6. I don't see that going to 7. But regardless, you guys have a health problem. I mean, and I think KD's going to get fed up just like how he got fed up with the Nets. It's like, how long can you constantly deal with being the only star on the floor? Because it's going to get to the point to where KD gets so tired and gets so worn down. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is he's going to get hurt, and then you're only going to have Beal and Booker. And then at that point, it's over. They don't really have a guard. You can argue Bill was supposed to be that guard, but you need a point guard. Not necessarily like a CP3, but someone who's consistent and good at distributing the ball to all the players. Now, I feel like people were expecting Jusuf to do his thing. He's been alright. Nothing amazing. Nothing that you can say, oh my God, he's having like this all-time year. He's been average. And as a team that's in the West, this is why they're kind of in the play-in position and they're not in the playoffs, because the West is just so stacked tight. I mean the East is too, but once you get past the 6th, I think, seed, either 5th or 6th seed, it starts to drop off significantly. You got the Miami Heat, you got the Bulls, I think. No, the Pelicans are in the West. You got a few teams down there fighting, but in the West, it is just a bloodbath. I mean, people are trying to get the right now. I believe it's the Timberwolves and the OKC. I think are first and second. Yeah, are first and second, or maybe the Clippers might have replaced them by now. But unless I'm mistaken, it's still Timberwolves first, OKC second, You got Nuggets third, which we will discuss them. Nuggets third, and then if the Clippers aren't fourth, then that means they got to switch with somebody. But it's just crazy to see um, just how much health really does matter. And as they say, best the best thing you can have as a player is availability. And when I think a lot of people were, they were confident in them, but also concerned when Beal got traded over there, because it was like, Beal, out of all the players, the one guy that hasn't really been consistently playing, that's the one you trade for. But they did, and you can say they got younger, because they got rid of CP3, who was starting to show age, starting to show some sign of slowing down. Let's be honest, and they felt like they had to get off his contract, and they did. But then you also get another big contract where you can't sign no players onto your bench, so your bench is kind of weak. I think, truth be told, between the Clippers and the Nuggets, they probably have some of the best benches, or in terms of players coming off that bench that are playoff experience and that have that veteranship. I mean, you do have Kawhi, of course, who's won numerous rings now, but in terms of bench, it's probably will go down to either OKC, Nuggets, Clippers, and of course Minnesota with Naz Reid and them boys coming off the bench. So it's just like it's just really hard to tell with them. The Lakers are always guaranteed to kind of, even if they are in the play-in, they're always guaranteed to at least make a Western Conference final runs, because they got, like I said, LeBron and AD. You can't never discount them. But it's just the Suns. They just look so odd because they're just not healthy, and I think that's what it is. If they had more time to gel, they'd be right. When we said the same thing with the Nets, if Kyrie's there, or if Harden's not hurt, or if KD's not hurt, they have more time to gel and get accustomed to playing with each other. Hell, I don't even think Kyrie and KD got really a lot of play time together before Harden was there. So it's just a hard situation. I know the Suns fans are tired of being having great teams, but never finals land, or final. Let me not say finals land, because they've been to the finals at least 3 times. They never had a team that they could say, oh, this is the team to take us to the promised land and win it. They've had teams that are, they're good, or they can get you there, but once they get you there, they can't take you home. And sometimes it be like that. Sometimes it does be like that. But you do have to keep fighting, and you just got to keep trying and keep seeing. And they keep trying with these big contracts, but there's just been a lot of things that the Suns have just not been able to do. Get healthy, get a good bench, get themselves a point guard that can distribute, and not feel the need to score. And I think that's what people are asking about. Do they have somebody who doesn't need to score, who can kind of pass the ball off? Because, KD can be off ball or on ball. He's pretty good when it comes down to that. Beal's okay. He's good with the ball, but he's not the best off ball. And Book, of course, can do both off ball and on ball. So if Beal can just become that distributor, not necessarily he doesn't need to give you 30 points a night. If he can give them 20 and just 10, something like that, that's good enough. That's all they need is 20-10, and they get buckets, but they just have not been able to be on the floor consistently at the same time. And that's why, truth be told, they might be like the Clippers of the Lob City era. Pretenders. We always know they're going to be there, but the question is, are they going to be there and win it? And the answer is always no. And you got to call a spade a spade. You can like them. Like I said, I do like the Suns. I do like their history. I've always liked their jerseys. They always got that fire jersey, the Valley. So that's just how I feel about them. But on to the next joint. So me and my cousin, we got into this. None of my cousins that's been on the podcast. All the cousins that I've had that haven't been on, we have our little group chat. That's what we talking. And I can't remember if he asked it or somebody asked it, but he said, or maybe I could have brought it up, but he said that he felt like the Bucks are the best, would be the best matchup in the East against the Nuggets. I disagreed. I said I think the Celtics are, because 1 through 5, Um, they have a team that is not necessarily, and I want to be clear, they do not have a team that's going to be able to stop the Joker. There's nobody that can stop. Um, there's there's nobody that can stop Jokic. Let's just be real. Um, but in terms of an overall team, I think they are the best team. Um, as a cohesive unit, like I said, you got Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, who's coming off the bench, Al Horford, um, Peyton Pritchard. I mean, they have a very solid bench. Luke Kennard, which he can help play against Joker. Now, height is not everything against the Joker. Joker can get buckets whether it's against a 6'9" dude, 6'3" dude, or a 7'4" dude. Doesn't matter. He's gonna get his. So I'm not really focused on stopping him. It's containing him. That means if his regular season average is, let's say, 25, I know in the playoffs he's gonna shoot that thing up to at least 32. If I can make him hit 30, 30, 10, and maybe 7, that's good enough. Because you're not gonna stop him. Let's be honest. He's too smart of a player. He's too skilled. He might not have the fastest run. He might not be the most athletic. But in terms of overall basketball IQ, hey, as a wise man once said, the only difference between him and LeBron is that LeBron can still dunk. I mean, and Jokic can dunk too, but not like LeBron. But he's still all time great. But once again, my previous point was they have a legitimate bench that if you look at the Nuggets versus the Celtics bench, and just as teams, right? I don't mean as stopping. You know, you got Jamal Murray, Jokic. I always stutter when it comes down to his name, Nikola Jokic. What the fuck? You know what? I said it. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Even though on the Lakers, a lot of people was calling him a bum. Christian Braun, Reggie Jackson, Peyton Watson, Justin Holiday. You know, like I said, they have pretty solid pieces. And if you mash them up, the best ones that go against each other, because they fulfill all the positions, would be the Celtics. Now, that's not to say that the Bucks are just some scrubs. They're not. They wouldn't be second for no reason. But if you do look at the lineups, there are some key things missing, which is on the defensive end. People always assume that the playoffs is all about offense. It's not. Realistically, it's a battle of who goes on runs consistently, which means going on runs means preventing runs. So defense matters. Now, you got Giannis, great defender. We all know that. Damian Lillard, that's my issue. Offensive-wise, can Damian Lillard get you buckets? Absolutely. And to be fair, he's one of the greatest shooters the game has ever seen. One of the best long-range shooters the game has ever seen. Logo Lillard for a reason. No disrespect to Steph, but in terms of shooting long range, I think it would go to either Dame or Trey. And it's pretty close. But Dame will get slaughtered defensively. We've seen it happen already throughout the game. He has been getting torched. You know, like I say, he's had some bad defensive lapses, and he's still trying to find himself on the team, which we're already pretty much we're past the All-Star break. You can't be looking for yourself still in the team, especially when you're supposed to be a championship caliber S team. That there's just no excuse. Then you got Chris Middleton. Brook Lopez, you know, good center, can shoot, can spread the floor. That's why I said in terms of Al Horford, I can see them doing battle because they're kind of like the same player. They get you rebounds and they shoot. He can spread the floor. He's not the best three-point shooter in the world. I would probably give that to Brook in previous seasons. This season, I think he's kind of had a little bit of a fall off. He's not shooting as efficiently, but he's still a pretty good three-point shooter. But once again, he plays mostly on the perimeter, so he's now often down to getting rebounds. And if Kristaps Porzingis is healthy, if Al Horford's playing more on the outside against Brook Lopez, that means Kristaps and Aaron. If Aaron might be playing that corner, which would give him some problems, but Kristaps can kind of play in the middle. I would be more concerned about that backdoor cut or that cut that they always do with Aaron when Jokic is on the block about to either get doubled or he's posting someone down and he knows all the eyes on him. They just have to make sure that they can lock that up. Um, but at the same time, like I said, that the main thing that they're missing is his defense. Chris Middleton, he has not looked the same. Injuries, I get that. No disrespect to him, injuries do happen. It's a part of the game. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. Injuries are affecting his game. He's not the same player anymore. Call it spade to spade. Now, mind you, the Milwaukee Bucks are still second in the Eastern Conference, but guess who's first? The Celtics. Malik Beasley having a hell of a year into the shooting the ball. He was in 3-point contest and he held his own. I'm not even gonna lie against you, but like I said, he might be okay at defense. He's not bad, but Damian Lillard, whatever, they have to find a way to hide him. They'd have to find a way to hide him because you gotta look at it. Jamal Murray. I'm trying to think of who their shooting guard is. Well, Jamal Murray is usually the 2, but sometimes he can run the point. So, you can't have Jamal on him, you can't have Michael Porter on him, and you can't have Aaron on him. So that means you either have to put him on Caldwell Pope or Reggie Jackson. Both those fellas can get you some buckets in Spurs. So I don't see that. I don't see that being a good matchup. Then of course you got the Nas's. Nobody really cares about him. He's not gonna do too much in the playoffs. Bobby Portis Jr., pretty good defender. Can knock a motherfucker out. Jay Crowder, I think there's a stat. Whichever team he's on usually always loses in the finals. Hey, it's unfortunate, but it do be like that sometimes. But he might have gotten a ring with the Bucks. He might have been on that squad, unless I am mistaken. I could be, but I think he was on that 2020 squad. But my point is this: are the Celtics going to face the Nuggets? I don't really hold any. Hold on, y'all. Lex is in here. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. I had to get Lex up out of my room because he decided to wake up. But back to what I was saying, which was this. I just see it more likely. I like I said, the Nuggets are the reigning champs. They're starting to heat up in the second half of the season. After the All-Star break, that's when you should really start to streak into the playoffs. And I just don't really have enough faith and trust in OKC or the Timberwolves. They're, like I said, they're young teams. They don't really have that deep playoff experience that a lot of veteran teams do need. So, calling it spade to spade, I can just see the whoever the Nuggets face in the playoffs is going to be a problem. The only teams I could see giving them some issues, and only based upon experience, and they all need to be healthy. That's key, first and foremost. They all need to be healthy. Only team I could see giving the Nuggets an issue in the West, and this is based on pure experience, just pure experience, not skill-wise, not player-wise, not none of that, is the Clippers. And that's because of the experience of Kawhi, the experience of Paul George, James Harden, and Russell, and because their bench is significantly deep. And a lot of people have kind of underrated their bench. Here we go. So, you of course got James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Zubac, Terrence Mann, PJ Tucker, Norman Powell, who's been having a hell of a season, Daniel, who's having an okay season, Highland, I forgot he was on that team because unless I've been missing him, he hasn't been getting a whole bunch of playing time. Mason Plumlee, who's been playing all right, Kobe Brown, and the rest, I'm not gonna lie, I do not know, but they do have a pretty solid bench coming off it. So, like I said, in terms of overall, well, speaking of the Clippers, they're actually showing up on my TV screen right now. Their highlights against the Timberwolves. But if they're all healthy, they have the experience. Be very mind what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm not saying it's 100% assured. They have the experience to match him. I feel like, um, because they have a lot. They have everything else that the other top two teams don't, and that's the experience. They have the lineup. They have everybody in the playoffs. Now they do have certain people who have choked in the playoffs. Unfortunately, James Harden. Of course, Paul George has had his moments, but they also have players that have won. Kawhi. Powell also might have a ring. Daniel Theis might also have one. He might have got one because he's been, you know, going from team to team. He's more of a journeyman, so he might have one just because he's gone to a lot of teams. I don't think Highland got one because Highland got traded, I think, the year before they won the championship. But they do have potential. Like I said, they do have potential to do an upset. And I want to be very, very clear, it's not guaranteed. I'm just saying, from experience point of view, they have everything that the other top two teams don't have. Of course, you got the Lakers and Warriors, but the Lakers and Warriors are, if they match the Nuggets, I think the Nuggets are gonna win. It's gonna be close. I think it's gonna go to a game 6, but the Nuggets will eventually come out in a 7-game series. That's just how I feel. If this was Cleveland Cavs or Miami Heat LeBron, I could say, hey, if they meet LeBron, they might have an issue. But it is old man LeBron, 40,000, which we will talk about, LeBron. So I can't necessarily say that he's gonna be, the most capable or most able to bring them to the promised land. But it is the Lakers, and you do truthfully never know, especially when it comes down to LeBron. All right, now I gotta talk about my Knicks. Man, we have been going through a lot. Jalen Brunson just hurt himself last night. Thankfully, it's not nothing too serious. It's only a knee bruise, I think they said, or a knee contusion. Not the worst thing in the world, but we've had a lot. Randall's hurt. The guy we just traded for is also hurt. Our big man's also hurt. We just have a lot hurt, and I'm surprised we won last night against the Cavs, but we did. And a win is a win. But at this point, as a Knicks fan, our door is closing. Not with Jalen Brunson. I'm just speaking with the lineup that we currently have. We have to make either an upgrade. We have to get either a second player that can be next to Randall, because I think, truth be told, and this is no disrespect to him, I have always felt like, I do believe and have always felt like Randall has always been a third option, not a second. We do miss a part of his scoring, but I have always felt like he would always be a better third option than a second option. I was hoping that we would have been able to get what's-his-face off of Brooklyn. The pieces didn't match. Maybe they couldn't trade for him. I don't know what was at the trading table. But it probably like I said, we could have either not had the assets, or they could have wanted too much. So we just got to take this shit in stride. But it is very annoying because at this point, it feels like no matter what we do, we're always going to fall short somehow, some way. Like I said, the last time the Knicks have won, my grandpa graduated high school. I have not been able to see them even get close to the finals. The last time I saw them get anywhere close was probably against the Miami Heat. And we all know how that went back in 2012, I think it was. So I'm just tired. I want I want to be excited. Say, we can do it. We can get there. But at this point, we either need another piece, or we need to make it, or we need to find a way to get into that draft, which I don't think we can, because we're too good of a team to not get a high draft pick, but we're not good enough of a team to make it to the promised land. We're in that space, and the Knicks have been in that space consistently since the 90s. I'm tired of being in that space. Let me say since I've been around, so around 98, I think we got there 99, but then we met the Spurs. I'm tired. Truthfully, I'm tired. It's just mental exhaustion as a Knicks fan. Will always be a Knicks fan. Yeah, it's it's a bane to my soul when I have to talk about the Celtics and them being a finals team, and then I have to talk about my Knicks maybe being a first or second round and out team. Like I said, there is a lot of frustration, but you gotta understand my frustration being a long time Knicks fan who's been fighting and fighting and fighting to say, oh well, maybe if this, that, and the third happens. I'm tired. I'm tired of saying if this, that, and the third happens. I just want to say if this happens, we can do it. But nonetheless, we can only wish and wish and wish. But as a wise man once said, wishing don't really get you nowhere. Only playing does. And you and while I was going down the Reddit, I saw a little post saying RJ's performance in Toronto. He has been hooping. 55% from the field, 41% from three. I think he just had the ball more. One and two, I think he was given more of the green light, but it could also be the pressure of no longer being in New York. New York is not easy. It's not an easy place to play in. You will be criticized if you lose, and you still be criticized if you win. They're going to say you didn't win well enough. It's kind of like Philly. Philly's kind of like that. Unless you win it all, they really don't care. Or they care more about effort. If they see you with the effort of, we want to win it all, they'll love you. But if they don't see the progress, they're going to hate you. And it's the same way in New York. You got to win. And you have to win consistently. But, you know, RJ has been hooping, but I do think it's because he is on a team that isn't expecting much. So he's just playing balls to the wall. But I do have a very strange feeling that you know, post New York's run that every player goes on, I think he's going to go back to being his average. No hate. I want to be very clear. I never hated him as a person. Just as a player, he just wasn't the right fit for us. But yeah, on to the next topic. Wemby in the Spurs. This is what I will say about them. Young team, all young players. They're still trying to get used to and accommodating with Wemby. I don't think they're used to having a big to where if you throw it at the free throw line, he can catch and dunk it. I mean, how many players do you know that if you throw an alley-oop at the free throw line, he can catch it at the free throw line and still find a way to dunk it? Not too many. Maybe DeAndre Jordan, but that's a big maybe. I think even he catched it from the inside and in. From inside the free throw line. But you know, it's just crazy. And I think if they can find Wemby's what's his face? Oh my god, a legend. Vince Carter's cousin. Oh my god. Man, I gotta look him up. I don't know why his name is just he's just disappearing from my mind. I don't know why. Let me see. Hold on. Tracy McGrady. If they can find his Tracy McGrady, they can have another Yao Ming Tracy mix, like how the Rocket. They can have a Yao Ming Rockets Tracy mix, and that would be great. They just have to find him a guard who, like, if they could have got Halliburton with Wemby, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you know how devastating that would have been? A guard who can pass but also get his own buckets. That's kind of who they need. Right now they have, let's pull up their roster, because I think they have one guy who's been getting buckets this season. Not necessarily hooping the best, but getting, because to me, in order to hoop, you got to be hooping all around. Devin Vassell, he's been hooping. Keldon Johnson also had a pretty strong start to the year. I don't know how he's doing now, but he was pretty good at the start. Trey Jones, Zach Collins, you need to watch out for him. I've seen clips of him, and sometimes I'll be like, that boy might be like a low-key menace. Doug Buckets McDermott, I remember him on the Knicks. He would give us buckets one night and then give us 5 points the next. It hurts, but that's how life is sometimes. But yeah, if they can get him some more competent pieces around him, pieces who actually look to pass to him, because listen, Jeremy, yes, I'm calling you Jeremy. I'm not calling you by your last name. You've been playing like a Jeremy. There's been some key passes to Wemby that they just miss, and I mean it's bad. I'm not blaming the coaching, because as a coach you can coach them all you want, but if motherfuckers just don't want to pass it, they're not gonna pass it. I mean that was like telling Melo in 2012 to pass the ball. Motherfucker wasn't gonna pass shit. He was shooting everything. I mean, that's just calling it spade to spade. But yeah, I mean, calling it spade to spade. If they could get him just a solid guard, he needs a solid guard. I think, and probably some vets. I think they need some vets on that team. You know, Doug McDermott really isn't a good vet. They need, I always say, in order to be a competent championship team, you need at least one or two players that have championship experience on them. I'm not saying that they need to be starting men. I'm saying they could be role players. You kind of need somebody with championship experience that can bring you, because you got to think about it. With Shy had CP3. You could say Curry had what's his face, even though they didn't like each other. LeBron kind of didn't have a vet. Kobe had the vets on the Lakers team, even though they didn't like him at first and didn't like him all the way through. They did respect him, and he appreciated him teaching him certain things. I'm trying to think who else, but you need good vets, and you need vets that are well respected. That's why the Heat have always been in contention, because they have vets that are very well respected, that people can, or had vets that were very well respected. You know, they still have Jimmy Butler, they still have Bam. I'm trying to think who else is there. What's his face isn't there anymore. He's on Philly, I think now. You know, they still have some good pieces, and they still have some ex players in their organization. So like I said, I do genuinely think that you need a vet, and they need a vet, somebody that's been around the league, that's been on winning teams, that, hey, this is how y'all act, this is how you don't act. The Hornets are another team that I think need a very strong vet, somebody that's like, don't do this, don't do that. Same thing with the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies also need a dominant vet that's, hey, I got rings, y'all ain't got nothing, I got rings. So you need that, to not only humble you, but to keep you right, to make sure you don't stray off the wrong path, because the Hornets have been straying off the wrong path since they traded Kemba. That's just me being honest. I mean, and as if you ask anybody, Kemba Walker at one point was my favorite player in the league. Absolute favorite for that damn crossover. But you know that we all know how that ended. His knees gave out on him, and then he came to the Knicks, and then his career gave out on him. It'd be like that. But regardless, I think Wemby's gonna get Rookie of the Year now. I thought it was Chet, even though Chet's not really a rookie. But that's how it seems like. Wemby has been hooping the past 10 games. I think he's been almost averaging 30 points. So he's been hooping. He's very good on the defensive end, which a lot of people expected due to his length. But he's been really dominant. Like, he's made people change from going to the paint to passing the ball back out. All right, and this is more of a funny topic. It's not necessarily a topic to be taken as serious. But you know, I've always told people, refs and players, refs and fans, they will always go at it. The fans are always going to think that the refs always get the wrong call. The players are always going to think the refs are calling against them. And I've always told people, hold on, y'all. Lex outside my door. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. But like I was saying, I get it. People are always gonna be very standoffish, especially in the NBA, where there have been numerous accusations filed, a lot of evidence to say that there was rigging going on, by the refs. But this is what I was saying. Like I always tell people, the only way people will understand how difficult a ref's job is if they put a be a ref mode in 2K. Imagine that. That would be, when I would actually try it just to see, like, how bad I'd be. But I've always told people, I wonder if 2K be a ref mode instead of, on my career, just to have players try to call fouls in games. I guarantee you a lot of people probably wouldn't make it past the G League because refing in the NBA is very difficult. It requires a lot of talent. You also need some nepotism. A lot of refs that are currently refing in the league are from families of NBA refs or families of G League refs that had connects or that proved themselves. But yeah, I mean, so going based upon that, Dejounte Murray and that ref, I didn't like it, because if it happens on the court and he goes and throws a tantrum or something like that, I get that. Throw a tee up. He's doing it on the court, whatever. And even though I do feel like players should have the right to express some kind of emotion, especially when they disagree, I do generally think that that tech would have been deserved if it was in the middle of the game or he freaked out. But dude's on the bench. You can't tech him if he's already cooled off. He's sitting on the bench and he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. If at that point you can't tech him. That's like what happened with Tim Duncan and when he got teched while on the bench for laughing. Like seriously, with Joe Crawford, at that point it becomes more of a you care more about you than you do about the game. Because he was already on the bench. He's already on the bench. So like what more can you do besides have him sit on the bench? He's sitting. He's already done. I did not like that. I found that to be a very much emotional call. That's not your call as the ref. You're not supposed to give out technical fouls after the player has sat down and said he no longer wants to discuss it. He's not showing you up on the court anymore. So you can't say, oh, he was showing me up on the court. He's on the bench. He's not even talking to you at that point. He's trying to cool himself off before he flips out on you. And then you give him a tech. Nah, that ain't it, y'all. That ain't it. And I'm very happy that, to find later on out that they did rescind it after the NBA looked into it. I'm very happy about that. But I do think that refs should get fined, though. I think refs only make around $500,000. That's a very, high number to say they only get paid $500,000, but I believe they only get paid $500,000. So if you give them a $25,000 fine, that'll humble them. Hell, it could be a $2,500 fine. That would also humble them. I mean, if players are getting fined for flipping out, then the ref should get fined for making calls like that, because that's a very emotional tech. That's not like that's a basketball play and he doesn't think it's worthy of his reaction. That's one thing, but when I'm on the bench and I'm sitting down with a towel over my head, sat down, and you come up to me and try to keep the conversation going, knowing I said forget it and you told me to forget it, and then you tee me up, nah, son, that ain't it. That ain't it. I mean, that's just showing that you want me to respect you more than I already have to on the court. That's crazy. But going back to good old LeBron, congratulations to LeBron James. Broke 40,000 points. First and foremost, that's crazy. That's a wild stat. Playing since the age of 17, 18, straight out of high school, and has been overperforming since. I mean, just great athlete. Not much more to be said. Worthy of that accolade and achievement. He's been hooping consistently, over 10 points for the past, I think it's like 20 some years or something like that. So in my eyes, I will call him. This is what I would call LeBron. I always tell people there's burst goats. There are goats that do great things in a short amount of time, and there's goats that do things over a period amount of time. LeBron's gonna be classified as that. To me, like I said, I didn't get a chance to witness a lot of Jordan. I got to witness mostly LeBron, so I gotta have him as my overall GOAT, because that's what I've seen. I can understand MJ or even Kareem, which I do want to talk. I'm gonna go off topic for a quick second. I want to talk about Kareem. And there was a conversation I was had in my cousin's group chat, and I had brought up to how, Tim Duncan, if Tim wasn't such a quiet, non-flashy, disappeared to the shadows kind of dude, he would be in a lot more of the GOAT conversations. But because he retired and then disappeared off the face of the earth until Wemby got drafted, he kind of hasn't really been in the conversation. But in terms of accolades, there's not he's in a realm of his own. I mean, and my cousin was like, and I had said, you know, in terms of bigs, he's not really mentioned. My cousin was like, well, of course. I mean, Kareem had no. This is what I had said. I said Kareem had the skyhook, and all Timmy had was being known as having almost perfect fundamentals, and almost having a pretty much perfect game. To which my cousin said, well, that's not true because you know, hold on, I'm trying to pull up Tim Duncan's accolades. Hold on, let me see. I just want to pull up his act, but he had said he also had, you know, the most points scored in NBA history, and I said, listen, that is true and that's valid, but think about it like this, and I want you to think really hard about this. Who do you hear more about most when it comes down to scoring, Kareem or Wilt? Because if you ask me, we didn't start hearing about that record until somebody was close to passing it. Karl Malone, when he was getting close to it, they talked about it, but then he caught the injury bug. Then he was just never able to get back on the court to pass it. Right? Let's be honest. Then it wasn't mentioned back up until Kobe hit his record, and people were saying he's not gonna hit it because he was getting old. And I think he had just passed Jordan at that time. So it really wasn't brought back up until 2017 when LeBron had just won that championship, and people had been saying if he keeps going at this pace, he's going to pass it. So I brought that up, and then I brought up, hell, I've heard more about Wilt Chamberlain's 50 points per season, 100 points a game, 30-something rebounds a game. I've heard more about, truth be told, and this is me being truthfully honest, I've heard more about Shaq and Wilt than I've heard about Kareem. And I mean in terms of greatest big of all time, or most dominant. Now, if you're talking about greatest big of all time, me personally, I got Hakeem. Kareem is 1B to me, but in terms of overall skill, defense, and offense, hey, there's not too many that can match the big African, and Jordan's still the only person to come out and say that's the only person he feared was the big African. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Okay, we're back. But oh, my water. Oh, come on. I just dropped my water on. Did that miss my clothes? Oh, it actually just barely missed my clothes. Ain't that about something? But sorry. Back to what I was talking about. I've heard more about Wilt than I've heard about Kareem. And I said that. I said, if you ask me, Kareem at certain points has just been tossed out the conversation. You hear more about Wilt because of his records than you do about Kareem. Hell, Kareem's at some points been a forgotten third option in the GOAT conversations. And even my cousin agreed. He said, you know what, you are kind of right. I've heard more about Wilt being in the GOAT conversation than Kareem. And I said, if you look at, let's look at Tim Duncan's accomplishments real quick. We're about to pull this whole up. Right? So, check this out. 5-time NBA champion. Now you could argue 1999 was cut short, but that's a ring. 3-time NBA Finals MVP. 2-time Most Valuable Player. 15-time NBA All-Star. 10-time NBA All-Star Game co-MVP of the 2000s. 10-time All NBA First Team. 3-time, okay, that's second team. 2-time, third team. 8 times All Defensive First Team, which is not matched by many. 7-time All Defensive Second Team. NBA Rookie of the Year. NBA All Rookie First Team. NBA Teammate of the Year. Jersey retired by the Suns. USA Basketball. Okay, all this doesn't really matter. Let's see. 2-time first team All-American, NCAA rebounding leader, and ACC athletic. There's not too many people that can match that. There's not. I think Kareem might have more finals MVPs. I can say that, and of course, probably I think MVPs in general. But my whole point was that if you look at the accolades, right, Tim Duncan is not brought up as much as, same thing with Charles Barkley, but Tim Duncan should be brought up more often in terms of GOATs. He should be, but he's not because he's quiet. And I think that's what kind of the Joker's going to go through with, I think, after a certain point. Because of his personality, who he is. He's not this extrovert, outgoing guy. Okay, here we go. Here's Kareem's stats, which is all good stats. 6-time NBA champion, of course. 2-time NBA Finals MVP. I thought he had 3. 6-time NBA Most Valuable Player compared to his 2. 19-time NBA All-Star. I think they might be matched. Oh no, 15-time. I'm wilding. 15-time. Sorry. What's his face was 15-time. 19-time NBA All-Star. 10-time All NBA First Team. 5-time All NBA Second Team. 5 times NBA All Defensive First Team. Actually, damn, I didn't know that what's his face had more defensive teams. That's crazy. 5-time NBA All Defensive First Team, 6-time All Defensive Second Team. But you know what? I'm trying to think who was. You had Bill Laimbeer, who was, even though he's more physical, he did have defense. I could see Kareem kind of getting pushed out. And he also came in during Bill Russell. So maybe he got pushed out of there. NBA Rookie of the Year, NBA All Rookie First Team, 2-time NBA Scoring Champion, NBA Rebounding Leader, 4-time NBA Blocks Leader, NBA Anniversary Team, 35th, 50th, and 75th. Jersey retired on 2 teams. 3-time NCAA Champion, 3-time NCAA Final Four Most Outstanding Player, 3-time National College Player. In terms of records, these people should be brought up as at least top. I would say Tim Duncan should at least be in some people's top 10s, but he's not. I mean, Magic Johnson has been pushed out of the NBA GOATs. Now he's just more of a point guard GOAT or an all-around guard GOAT compared to when he used to be. A lot of people used to have him and Larry Bird as the greatest of all time. Like I said, history happens. People get not necessarily forgotten about, but people get overlooked for the more extroverted, outlandish, outgoing personalities. But the fact that we don't hear, think about it, Tim Duncan. No disrespect. Tim Duncan has more NBA first team, all defensive first teams compared to Kareem. But Kareem has, of course, more All-Star games. He might also have more All NBA first team games. I could be mistaken. Oh no, they had the same amount of all NBA first teams. Of course, Tim Duncan has less second teams and less third teams. But like I said, Tim Duncan has more all defensive first teams. I'm trying to see if I could have sworn he won Defensive Player of the Year too. I'm just trying to find the if he did win it. I could have sworn he did. I could be wrong though. That could have went to what's his face when he was on the Nuggets and in the 76ers with AI. Okay. Oh, okay. Is this it right here? Oh, nope, never mind. Okay. So he did never win it, but he did average 2.2 blocks per game. So we all know him and Kareem were both defensive juggernauts in their primes. So once again, like I said, even though, think about it like this, right? Tim Duncan, Kareem, Charles Barkley, those players should be mentioned more often. Hell, Charles Barkley was a 6'6", 6'7" dude running power forward, sometimes center, and Duncan all grown centers, grown men. But yet you don't hear about them like that. So I think Joker could have that same thing. When he's playing, everybody knows him. when he's not playing, he's gone. He's gone like the wind. But anyways, once again, congrats to LeBron James breaking 40 points. Very great achievement. I think the only players that would be able to break it probably be Luka and trying to think. I can't think of somebody else. Luka's probably the only one. If we're thinking of the youngest players that would be able to do it, yeah, Luka would probably be the only one. Maybe Shea. But Shea might be in his mid-20s by now, and you have to be averaging at least 10 points up until this point to even come close to it, and continuously average those 10 points. So like I said, I don't know, but Luka's probably the best one, because Luka's been coming in and hooping. But yeah, let's move on to some good old NFL. But before I do that, let me step away so I can help Lex out real quick. Hold on, y'all. All right, moving on to the good old NFL. Right. So we have Russell Wilson, who has officially been released by the Broncos after they tried to stiff him of his money. Let's be honest, they definitely tried to play with his money. He got it. He said, "I'm not hurt, so you can fuck out my face." And now they have a good old, let's see, 85 million in dead cap, which is the most in dead cap the league has ever seen, breaking the previous two records, which I don't have on me, but I do know that he did break records. Look, listen. Because we are wrapping up. Russell, he's not a bad QB at all. By any stretch of the imagination, he has 2 rings for a reason. But I think he's so built into his ways. Now it wasn't all his fault. Sometimes wide receivers didn't get open. Sometimes he didn't have enough time to throw the fucking ball. So it's not always his fault, but I think he might be aged out, as in his game, who he is, he's not physically able to do it anymore. He mentally can still think he does it, and that's great. If you believe it, sometimes your mind will follow. But realistically, he doesn't have that same feel to him. And that's no disrespect to him. I'm not saying it's completely his fault. But you can kind of see the age. Like I said, he did have great moments. I'm not even gonna say a lie. They almost made the playoffs this year. The Broncos went on kind of a last minute run. They unfortunately didn't win. Their last 2 games, I think it was. But they did have a chance. They fell short. And now my boy Derek kind of has to watch the Chiefs win for the next 4 years. Oh, but like I told him, now he has to go through what the Jets went through with the Patriots, because my dad was going through it. All the Jets fans out there was going through it during that Tom Brady era, because they knew they didn't have a chance at a ring regardless. Every time they met the Patriots, the Patriots gave them boys the business. But I hope Russell finds another team that's willing to take up the contract that he has, because he is getting paid a lot. And with that contract and that money sign comes a lot of expectations. And truth be told, he didn't live up to them. He didn't. Like I said, it wasn't always his fault. Let's be very clear. It was not always his fault. But when you're getting paid however much he was getting paid, I think he's getting paid over $100 million. You don't have those same excuses as somebody that's only getting paid $80 million. You don't get that same excuse. Another thing, Mike Evans has re-signed a 52 2-year contract with $32 million guaranteed. I'm happy, that some of the teams are respecting their legacy players that have been through with them through thick and thin, during times to when what's his face was throwing 30 interceptions and 30 touchdowns. During all the bad years of the Buccaneers, he stuck through with them, and he's been a very consistent wide receiver. Never the greatest, but always good. Always was consistent. Like I said, sometimes he was hurt too, so you got to play into that. But I am happy he got some guaranteed money in it. I believe he has 35 million guaranteed. So even if he gets hurt at his age, because he is getting up there as a wide receiver, I am happy that they did secure him down for the next few years. Like I said, respect to that owner, because a lot of other owners would have said, "Hey, listen, we want to pay you, but we can't pay you. Yeah, you're not worth that." But shout out to them. And to end this off, there are rumors around in the NFL that the Steelers, because numerous people have been saying that the Steelers should try to go for either Russell or try to get involved for a new QB. According to the rumors, which could be false, this is a rumor, the Steelers are not interested in Russell Fields or Cousins. Now, Cousins I get. Cousins tore his ACL. As a QB, that's not the easiest thing to come back from. Especially at his age. That's why I was very surprised when what's-his-face was trying to play. And I still think Rodgers would have played if they had a winning season. He's playing. Because then that is almost a Disney-esque story. That would be on every Netflix, every Hulu, every HBO doc that you could find. They would have had that. But it's very interesting to find out the Steelers are not supposedly interested in none of these QBs that are flying around right now because they need one. Truth be told, Steelers will always have a competent defense. They will always have that. But in terms of their offense has always been a roller coaster of mostly passing and no running. Unless they had McCoy, which then they ran, and of course they got a ring out of. But we're going to call it a day there. We're going to call it an episode. I believe this is an hour. Yep, it is pretty much almost an hour. I'm going to try to be more consistent. I'm going to try to get you guys an episode for next week if I can find any interesting topics. If not, I might try to go live on Twitch, so watch out for that. I very rarely ever stream because, let's be honest, a lot of people just aren't interested like that. And I'm not a very interesting guy when I'm playing games. I'm very quiet unless I'm playing with teammates that I know. So, you might catch me on, what's it called? Helldivers 2, because that's been my shit. And Games Workshop, you fucking up because they made a Warhammer 40k game just without the Warhammer 40k aspects of it, and they made everything Warhammer 40k like. Y'all fucked up. And it's fucking stupid how you guys won't give out your licenses to competent studios that can make competent games. Now, to be fair, nobody knew that this game would be this big, but still, it's a very good game that I enjoy to play. But the intro music should be playing by now. But it is your boy Huey. You have been watching the Huey Show number 12. Please like, subscribe, and comment for your boy. Share it all around, and I will see y'all when I see y'all. Deuces.